This video is sponsored by Sophos Home. 2020 is coming to an end, and we'll just save all of the 2020 was terrible jokes for another day, because in Apple's world, not everything was terrible this year. Apple still managed to release a lot of new products, and in this video, we're gonna go over my top 5 favorite Apple products from 2020. Now, these are not in necessarily any particular order, but starting us off, we have the brand new 4th generation iPad Air. This year, Apple completely redesigned the iPad Air, transitioning from its original design with the big chunky bezels on the top and bottom and that physical home button, and they made it more in line with the iPad Pro models. There are no more huge bezels, it's a smaller form factor, but without compensating screen real estate, and there's a squared edge design. Apple did remove the home button, but managed to keep Touch ID, integrating it into the top power button. It's also equipped with the new A14 chip, which is the same chip found on the new iPhone 12s, and it's just all around a fantastic iPad. It's extremely fast, very portable, and very powerful. In fact, we compared this iPad Air to the 11-inch iPad Pro from earlier this year. We personally felt that buying the iPad Air and saving some money was the right call over the iPad Pro, especially if you plan to use some of the accessories like the Apple Pencil and the Magic Keyboard, which can really start to drive the cost up quite a bit. Now, speaking of the Magic Keyboard, that's actually the next product on my list. I absolutely love this keyboard. It's incredibly overpriced, yes, I know. But there are some cheaper options that work almost as well, but for me, the key word is almost. Apple just has a way of making accessories that is just good enough, just slightly better than the rest of the competition, to where it makes it worth spending that extra money on. This keyboard trackpad combination is compatible with both the iPad Pro and iPad Air models, and it's the first product that Apple made for the iPad that makes it really feel like a legit laptop replacement, at least in my opinion. So not only are the keys really comfortable to type on, they're backlit, although backlit I'm putting in quotes because you can't really adjust when those keys are backlit, it's kind of on its own, but when you need light on the keys, it does a good job of knowing that you need those keys to be lit up. It's also got this really cool floating hinge design. The construction, and of course, the trackpad, it really just takes things to the next level. This trackpad feels a lot like the trackpad found on a MacBook, but it does physically click in, which is one thing I'm not the biggest fan of. It's fine, but I kind of wish it was exactly like the glass trackpads that we see on a MacBook. To me, it's smooth, intuitive, and it just works really, really well with iPadOS's trackpad support. There's also a bonus USB-C port strictly for charging, which is really nice if you want to free up your iPad's USB-C port for other accessories. Honestly, the only thing that's really bad about this product is the material used on the outside. It's that same fingerprint magnet, rubbery material that was used on the iPad Folio keyboard cases from Apple. And it's not the best, and I'm not quite sure why Apple keeps using it in more products. It gets really gross really quickly. The edges start to fray super quick. It's just not my favorite thing. But if you exclude all of that and just talk about the things that I really liked about it, it just far outweighs the materials that are used. You just need to be a little bit more careful with it. But I use this keyboard on my iPad Pro or Air every single day. And if this product didn't exist, I probably wouldn't use my iPad as much as I do on a daily basis. Next up, we have a bit of a newcomer, and it's probably going to be a controversial pick, but it's the new AirPods Max. The AirPods Max have 2 negative qualities about them, and one is the name, which is purely subjective. Maybe you don't care about the name. The name's kind of bad in my opinion, but that's really not that big of a deal. And number 2 is it's very expensive, which is a huge deal. But if we just remove those 2 things and really focus in on the product, because those 2 things really have nothing to do with the actual quality and physical parts of the product, these are some of the best noise-canceling headphones that I have ever used. And if you've got money, especially $550 that you can spend on a pair of noise-canceling headphones, I'm confident you will not be disappointed with these. They are incredibly well constructed from really high-end premium materials. I personally think they look great in nearly all available colors, and they're extremely comfortable. Couple all of that with incredible sound quality and feature sets, and it's just really hard for me to recommend any other pair. Now, there are definitely other pairs of headphones that are significantly cheaper that are probably better options in terms of value. But to me, the AirPods Max are far and away my favorite pair because they do everything that I want them to do. They're really good at all of the things that they need to be good at, and they're really comfortable, and they work really well with all of my products because they're all in the same ecosystem. Now, what I mean by they work really well in the categories that I need them to, noise cancellation, it's probably one of the best, if not the best, noise canceling headphones I've ever heard. They're probably too good at it because if I'm being honest, it's really hard to hear some of the outside world at times, and sometimes it's a little jarring to not be able to hear things at all except for what you're listening to. The sound quality is just really, really good. And then you put in Apple's software and their computational audio and the H1 chip and how it adapts to the music and sound profile of what you're listening to, and even spatial audio feature from when you're watching movies and TV shows on an iPad or an Apple TV or even your phone. And you get that surround sound, Dolby Atmos kind of style like you're in a theater, but you're just sitting down on your couch watching something on a tiny device. It's really, really cool. And if you have, any other product in the Apple ecosystem, it works so well, and that's just really why I like them so much. The next item on our list is the new iPhone 12. Now, specifically, I'm talking about the iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max because those were the two devices that I've used the most in this lineup. I think all of the iPhones are really, really good. Each iPhone kind of fits a different person in a different way. Obviously, they made the iPhone mini or the iPhone 12 mini for people who want, smaller phones, but don't want to compromise on a lot of the major features that makes getting a new iPhone. So Apple finally just listened to that, and they made one end of the spectrum, a really tiny phone, and then a huge phone in the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which has been my daily driver, and I do love using it. Now, the size is a bit large for me most of the time, and I kind of get over it because the battery life and the beautiful display and that screen real estate is just really hard to get away from. In terms of camera quality, Apple delivered a great set of cameras this year, and they produced some incredible images and especially video. The iPhone 12 Pro Max actually has different cameras compared to the smaller Pro model, but personally, the difference in quality is just pretty minimal most of the time, where I think that if you're worried about missing out on specific features or image quality, don't be worried about that if you're looking at the 12 Pro or the Pro Max. They're pretty much the same, in my opinion, in image quality most of the time. Now, I'm loving the new old look of the iPhone 12. It's taken me some time to get used to the ergonomics of that squared edge design, but I do really like it overall, and it's just a really powerful device, a very solid upgrade, and I didn't even get into MagSafe, which I'm not sure if that's something worth upgrading for per se, because a lot of the accessories haven't really wowed me, but there are accessories that I've kind of grown to like more and more, like the wallet. I rarely use it on the back of my device, but when it comes time to putting stuff on the table and I want to take my wallet out, I'm not worried about losing it because I put it on the back of my phone, which is really the only time I ever use that. Finally, last on our list are the new M1 Max. Apple finally transitioned from Intel to its own Apple Silicon. The ARM-based machines that were released this year include a 13-inch MacBook Air, a 13-inch MacBook Pro, and a Mac Mini, and all three of these machines are really good. Apple has proven that its own custom silicon, paired with its newly redesigned version of macOS, which is macOS Big Sur, can offer up some crazy powerful performance and battery efficiency. We did an entire series of tests and constantly push these machines each and every day, and there just really hasn't been any major issues with the ones that I've been testing whatsoever. There have been a few compatibility nuisances with hardware and software not being entirely compatible with these new machines, but there's nothing that really would change my mind in purchasing them, and things would change on those aspects, you would think, over time. I know one of the big things for me was U-Audio. The Apollo Twin that I have was not compatible with Big Sur, and they've already fixed that. It's still not compatible with M1, but they're obviously working on that. So in the coming months, and definitely in the coming years, everything should be compatible with the M1 Max. Now, these custom chips are the future, and the future looks very, very bright. And so maybe it's not worth getting an M1 machine right now if you're really looking for getting a new machine in the future. You might want to wait for Apple's next version because it's only going to get better from here. But if you want a new Mac right now and you're thinking about the M1 Macs, the MacBook Air, the Pro, even the Mac Mini, they're really powerful, and it's just crazy that you can get a base M1 MacBook Air that's completely fanless and just see how powerful that type of machine can truly be. Now, before we end today's video, I do want to give you more information about today's sponsor, Sophos Home. Sophos Home is security and privacy built for an entire family, regardless if they're Mac or PC users. It utilizes the same award-winning security features that keep Fortune 500 companies safe, stopping malware, ransomware, hacking exploits, and much more. Sophos Home also protects what you do online, keeping web-based banking and shopping safe and secure, protecting webcams, microphones, and even what you type. Sophos Home secures your privacy. And to make all this protection simple, Sophos Home allows you to manage security on up to 10 computers, located anywhere in the world via the cloud. It's the best way to digitally protect your family or even your neighbors. And if you want more information about Sophos Home, visit the link in the description down below. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you around in the next video.